Welcome back to Just Scrap Radio on BJPenn.com. I'm your host, Cole Sheldon. Episode 220 of Just Scrap Radio is live ahead of the UFC Perth, which is a really good card and a good lineup here. First, we're joined by Beneil Dariush to preview his co-main event fight against Quillen Salkid. This is a big fight for Beneil. He was obviously supposed to fight Manuel Torres in April. He was kind of hoping to stay on that card after Manuel lost, but he's really excited to go to Australia. He said this is something he wanted to do before his career was up, but obviously he's coming off that quick knockout loss to Benoit Saint Denis, but he said he felt fine after that. Like he was ready to get in right away, and he likes his matchup. He obviously knows that Quillen is a very dangerous fighter, a lot of finishing ability, but he thinks he has what it takes to kind of show his veteran presence, get the win. And then we close things out talking to both Colby Thicknesse and Vince Morales about their bantamweight fight on the prelims. It should be a very fun fight for however long it lasts. Colby coming off a big UFC debut win in the UFC. He is full confidence that this is a fight for him to get a win over a big over a veteran name in Vince and kind of really build off that. He knows like only the top guys have been beating Vince, while Vince thinks this is a good fight for him to get back in the win column. He's lost 3 in a row. He believes he's fighting for the his career or his UFC career, but really good chat. But be sure to share the show, subscribe, and tune in always. All right, we're jumping UFC lightweight Beneil Dariush, who's heading out to Perth. Beneil, how's it going, man?
It's going well. Everything's been pretty smooth so far.
When we're doing this, you're supposed to fight this weekend. Like, were you like, how quickly did this kind of come together where Manuel was out? Because it seemed pretty quickly to us. Like, is it the exact same for you, or are you kind of waiting for a bit for the next opponent?
3 to 4 days, I would say. I got the call on a Sunday that uh, Manuel was out, and then I was waiting to see who's gonna take place, and then they called me and they said, "Hey, what do you think about fighting in May?" And I told them like, "Hey, I was supposed to fight in February originally, and now they're pushing out back to May." Sorry, I don't know why my phone does this, but
Is if you lock it, I think like if you're on the iPhone, you can just.
if I lock it, it'll be the other way. So
Oh, okay, then yeah, I don't know.
yeah, that's why. But I can flip it up if you prefer it,
It's
or
really whatever easier for you. It doesn't matter.
then I'll just do this so we don't have to deal with that. There we go. But yeah, so I've been in camp since February, before February, in January, because I was supposed to fight in February, and then they pushed it to March, then they pushed it to April and May. So it's been a super long camp, but fortunately my body's held up well, no injuries, and I can't ask for more. And weight's coming down, everything is looking good.
Were you pushing to stay on this card in Miami and like not have to do that huge travel to Australia?
Yes, but at the same time, I always wanted to fight in Australia. In a perfect world, it would be Sydney. I'd get to fight in Sydney or Melbourne,
Mhm.
but I'm excited to fight in Perth as well because then I can just go to Sydney afterwards. There's a lot of Syrians there, and I would love to just get to the community and just spend some time with them.
Do you like with how long of a flight it is? Like, are you going to stay out there a bit extra and make it a bit of a vacation then after the fight or before the fight?
Yeah, so I'll go early. I'll go
Yeah.
2 weeks before the fight, and then I'll stay a week after.
I guess for that long of a flight kind of makes it, and it's kind of a just paid vacation if the UFC's flying you out there.
Yeah, if that's what you want to call it, but yeah.
With Quillen, like how familiar were you with him? Because obviously he's pretty new to the scene when you got offered him.
I mean, I knew him to some degree because Nazareth's my friend, and I saw him fight Nazareth, and he beat Nazareth, so I knew of him. Then when they gave me the name, I watched his other fights, and I got more familiarized with him.
Were you surprised this was the opponent? Like, just obviously Manuel was a ranked guy. He's unranked going into Perth. Like, were you surprised this was it, the fight?
Not really, because there wasn't anybody ranked that was available. So that's it's not uncommon. It's pretty common actually for my history with
Mhm.
the UFC.
Uh, Obviously it's a long flight. Have you talked to people that have gone to Australia or talked to like the PI or anything, how to kind of handle the weight cut and what to do kind of for the flight and everything?
Yeah, I've gone to Abu Dhabi before to
Mhm.
fight. I fought in Singapore. I didn't fight in Australia. I've cornered in Australia, so I have an idea of it. It's tough, but it's not the end of the world.
And I know they're fighting like local time in Australia, like it's gonna be early in the morning in the States. Like, does that actually benefit you? Like, well, then you can just get adjusted to their time. Then you don't have to try to fight to stay on like North
Yeah.
American time.
Yes. Because like when Giga fought in England and we had to fight at 4 a.m., we were like, what's the point of getting
Mhm.
out there early, getting adjusted to their time, and then being all confused. So why don't we just go and stay jet lagged? Because that's
Mhm.
the time we're fighting, anyways.
With this one, like, do you bring anyone different training partners? It's kind of the same crew as always for this one.
I would say the same crew.
Mhm.
My I got a really strong team. A lot of the guys I believe in. So same crew.
Who is going up to Australia with you? Or do not know yet.
I have Venetius going with me.
Mhm.
My friend Chris. And my boxing coach Riddell and Nolan Tickman, my kickboxing coach.
Uh, this is kind of nothing new to you. It seems like you fight a lot of these, like, going to enemy territory, fight the hometown guys. Like, what? Did you enjoy that? Like, do you like kind of going in there and fighting them? Like, obviously, you're going to be heavily booed, or does that not really matter to you? Just like another fight.
Just another fight. It doesn't really matter to me. And to be honest, there's a lot of Syrians in Australia, so I don't even feel like I'm gonna be booed, or I'm gonna be the I'm not gonna be the fan favorite. I really believe the crowd will be for me as well.
And I just think like how you fight, like just like you'll win the fans over anyways with your
Yeah,
fighting style.
that's the goal, right? I want to go out there and I want to have a great fight, have a great performance, and one way or another, the fans will be happy.
Uh, Obviously, I think a lot of people are just kind of thinking he's gonna run through you, just kind of how they're just kind of setting it up for him. Like, does that bug you, where like people are writing you off before the fight, or do you kind of use that as motivation or anything?
I mean, it's not new to me, you know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
fine. I plan on going out there and doing what I've always done. And underestimating me is I don't know if that's a good idea, but if that's the way they're looking at it, that's fine. We'll see how it goes.
Do you? How much do you think like just the experience will play factor in this one? Where like you fought some of the best lightweights to like ever fight. Where like obviously he's young in his career. Like Naz, that's a good win, but like he hasn't fought that level of competition that you have been going up against. Like and like even in your last couple fights, you've been fighting.
Yeah, we'll see. Because experience is important, but at the same time, skill is what determines it. And if there's a skill gap, if there's no skill gap, then the experience will come into play. So that'll be to my advantage. But these days these kids spend all their time watching fights. They grow up watching fights. They're they're well versed in MMA experience through watching. There's some experience you can only
Mm.
gain in the fighting, and he's fought, so it's not like he's just a random guy. He's worked his way up. He's got quite a bit of skills. So I think either way, the fight's going to be really good.
Do you look at like the fight last weekend with Moicano and Duncan? Like it seemed pretty similar to this one, where like everyone was kind of overlooking Moicano. They thought like this young knockout guy is going to kind of run through Hanato and kind of showed off his veteran chops. Like, does that give you a bit of confidence knowing what you did to Hanato and he's still like kind of doing it at that level as well?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Fighting Hinato he was one of the most difficult people to fight. Like it was really hard to find the range. He's really improved his striking. People
Mhm.
don't understand, and he's very patient. That's the reason why he was able to get that knockdown. Or slip, whatever you want to call it. Even with Mahachev, he was so patient. He was constantly baiting Mahachev to go first, and then he would counter. And when I fought him, I felt the same thing. I was like, man, this guy's really, really hard to hit, and he's constantly waiting to counter me. So it was one of those stressful fights where you're scared to throw because you think you're going to get countered, and sure enough, he caught me one time against the cage. But yeah, I really thought Moncana was actually going to win, to be honest with you. From what I felt from him, I thought he was definitely capable of winning.
Back to your fight with Quillen. Like obviously he has a ton of knockout power. He is a good grappler, but like, do you imagine he's not going to really want to grapple with you all that much because of how good you are on the ground?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what his game plan is, obviously, but one way or another, I think the fight's going to go to the ground because whether he wants to take it to the ground or I want to take it to ground, there's going to be some kind of ground exchange. We're both grapplers.
I actually think that's something you're better at than a lot of like these grapplers. It's just your wrestling because like you see a lot of these high level grapplers where they struggle to take people down because they're just used to always being on their back and like grab matches. Like, is that something you've always emphasized in your career? Is like actually like work on your wrestling to be able to get these guys to the mat?
So, I mean, I don't have a wrestling background. I didn't grow up wrestling in college, or I had a month of high school wrestling just because a friend of mine invited me. But because I didn't have that, I always thought I was a bit insecure about my wrestling. So I always worked really hard to improve my wrestling. And now I'm at a place where I feel very confident with my wrestling.
That is odd. So like what? And just in the first couple trainings, did you always feel like way like worse than everyone else in wrestling practice then?
Every single time, I'm telling you, when I showed up to a wrestling practice, I felt like a beginner. Even now, if I go to a good college, like the wrestling practices, I still feel like a beginner. So MMA is a little bit different.
Mhm.
There's the wall wrestling, there's the setting up your shots are different, but I still feel a beginner when I go to a actual wrestling practice. So I've had to find a style that works for me in MMA and in just pure grappling, because we do a lot of pure grappling as well in my gym, and then I have to mix it all.
Uh, with Quillen, like, how do you kind of see this one playing out? Like, it should be a pretty fun fight. Like, both of you guys finishers. Like, how do you kind of see this one playing out?
Um, I think there's a good chance of a finish. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
This will be your first fight in this like Paramount era with like just a flat finishing bonus, 100 grand bonuses. Like, does that add anything to it where you can make a lot more money with a finish or a good performance?
For sure, man. I mean, I want to provide for my family, so there's that's definitely enticing. But I've always want like not. It's difficult to say that something can add to my motivation.
Hmm.
I always want to win, and I desire to win so badly, and I work so hard for that. So, you know, I used to fight for free, and I wanted to win. So, like, it doesn't change too much for me. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna try my best.
Just a couple more things here. Like, I know Quillen isn't ranked, but you get the win over him. Like, where do you think that kind of puts you in the division? Because he is someone I think the UFC is pretty high on. Like, he's had some good wins. He's a co-main event on a fight night
I
card. Like,
I don't know because the rankings don't even make sense to me. Like the way they rank us, I beat Gamrot, I beat Moicano, and they have me behind both those guys.
mhm.
So the way they do the rankings, I just don't understand how they work. So I don't honestly know. But after if I win this fight, I'm gonna figure out how to get myself ahead of those guys
Mhm.
essentially.
What is the goal then for you this year?
To be honest, I'm taking everything one fight at a
Yeah.
time. It's no longer do I have like I'm gonna fight this guy and then this guy and then I'm at a place where I'm fight one fight at a time. This could be like I fought this fight. I don't have I don't feel motivation, win or lose. I don't feel like motivation to do another one. That could be it. Or I could be like, man, I want to fight right away. I just gotta. I don't want to think too far ahead. Just want to focus on today.
Would you be one of those fighters? Do you think that like after your fight, like it might hit you like, hey, I'm done, or would you want like what Chiesa got when it's like you get the package, you get like the final send off, like you announced before the fight, like, hey, this is it for me.
I don't know. It's not something I really think about. If they want to do something like that, that'd be great. If or if it's just like, hey, I give them a call and say, hey, I'm done. That's fine too. It's not. It's not gonna change. My life either way. My life is good, man. I love my life. I get to train super hard. I get to spend a ton of time with my family, and once once I'm done with my career, I'm gonna essentially still do the same thing. I'm gonna train super hard, coach a lot of guys, and spend time with my family. So not a whole lot changes for me one way or another. So yeah, either way, whether I go out with a bang or with just a call and say, hey, I'm done, I'm fine with either way.
Just final thing, just kind of build on that. I'm not sure if you have an answer to this, but you kind of said at the beginning you always wanted to fight in Australia. Are there any other places you'd like to go fight, or even just like for anything?
Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago has the biggest Syrian community. I'd love to fight there. I'd love to fight, for like close to my people. I've never
Mhm.
had the opportunity.
Well, Beneil, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much for doing this again.
Yeah, my pleasure, brother. Thank you.
All right, we're joined by UFC bantamweight Vince Morales, who's going on a bit of a trek out to Perth. Vince, how's it going, man?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Like, obviously, been a bit since we saw you, like March of last year. Like, what kind of was the reason for this long delay? Because I know you're a guy that likes to fight be as active as possible.
Bro, you got me. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I know my I had a knee surgery that was pretty minimal, as a meniscus thing, which I've had in the past on the same knee. Had that done right after the fight last year, and for whatever reason, it's just forever something to materialize. And but thankfully, here we are, and maybe that year off. It's been like the longest time off I've ever had, like my whole entire career. So I don't know. Maybe it's a blessing because I feel great right now.
Just quick on your last fight against Rosas, like what did you take away from that one? Like he's just kind of a difficult guy to fight. Like we saw him against Rob Font. He just kind of gets built down, just kind of holds him, doesn't do a whole lot on the ground. Like what do you kind of take away from that one?
For me, just some more urgency. Yeah, maybe that's not like the most fan pleasing way for somebody to get a victory and or to really like to have a fight. I was real frustrated with it afterwards, but like he still did what he had to do to get a win, and that was kind of hold me down. So I think I had some good moments, and I showed him not a slouch, but like maybe instead of re-engaging for some grappling exchanges for my own ego's sake, maybe I separate and try to work some things there.
And now this one, like going out to Perth, like is this something you want, or is this kind of what they offered and you were kind of going to accept it for this long of a layoff?
Both.
Yeah.
My good friend Cody Steele's been training with us for a bit, and he got on that card, and we jokingly, when he got on that, kind of said, how crazy is it going to be when we both end up on that card? And then we kind of laughed it off or whatever. And then sure enough, that's ended up what happening. So be it. I love, one of my favorite things about my MMA career is just the fact that it's taken me literally all over the world. And one place I haven't been yet is Australia. So here we go.
Are you gonna make like a bit of a vacation out of it, like stay after the fight for a bit and kind of check some stuff out? Because it is a long way to go for that little bit.
So I'm going like 10 days out or so I can acclimate and stuff. That was the recommendations because it's like over a 24 hours of flying that or travel that it takes for us to get there. So I'm sure by that time, dude, I'm just gonna want to come home. So I'm imagining we're coming home right after that. And
like the time change is crazy. Because when I try to talk to guys from like New Zealand, Australia, it's always like a headache having to deal with the time. Because it's like 13-hour difference for me. So I think it's like even worse for you. Like it's a pretty crazy. And then the flight's just a pain to get there.
Oh, that's gonna be. I'm hoping they don't have us like fighting at like some odd time in their morning. I suppose maybe that'll be better for.
I actually think this card is like a local time for them because I think it's on like early in like American Canada here. So I think it is like going to be at night, like their time.
Okay, cool. I'm with that.
With your opponent, Colby Thicknesse, like how familiar are you with him?
I watched his 2 UFC fights. I kind of let the commentary tell me more about him than going back and looking at some of the older fights. But I think those two kind of are more important for me deciphering what kind of guy he is and how he likes to fight in the UFC cage, because that there is a difference between other shows and the UFC. So both those fights look kind of similar, other than he won one and was a little more successful in one. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a good fight. I think I'm really hoping he wants to kind of dog it out with me a little bit, because my soul needs that right now after over a year layoff, dude. I'm itching. I need to get in there. I need to get bloody. I need to get a real fight.
I think like just kind of the way he fights, it should be a pretty entertaining one. Like, is that you kind of expecting that then too?
Yeah, I'm fingers crossed for it, dude. I think the more of that there is, the like not only better for like outcome wise for me, but I think the better for the fans too, and better for my soul, dude. Like I was saying, I really I'm craving just getting in there and having a like an Arturo Gatti sort of fight or something.
Obviously Colby's from Australia, going into enemy territory. Like, do you enjoy that? Like, or like, do you like going into people's backyard and trying to beat them up? Or is that something like, obviously the crowd's going to be against you? Like, is that something you like, or does it like not really care to you?
Man, that's been the story of my entire fight career. I think all of my UFC fights have been like that. Even prior to that, when I was still fighting locally on Front Street Fights in Idaho, I was the Oregonian coming from an hour away fighting all the locals. So literally that's just how it is for me. And I'm okay with that. I think for the most part, I usually end up winning people over at the end of it, and then everybody wants to see me and hang out anyway. So like I feel like just with my style and stuff, the fans can appreciate it. So yeah, it doesn't bug me too much. I'm looking forward to like some sort of energy. Me being like the villain essentially. I'm expecting a lot of boos. I'm expecting some noise. Good. More of that, the better.
I know Cody was like, I don't know if he's living with you, but you guys were training for a while. Like, so how exciting does that make? Like, just kind of the flight and kind of everything. Like, does that just make it a lot easier having someone that you're familiar with go along with you?
Yeah, man. So he was living with me for a bit. Him and his wife actually just got a place. So they're gone now. But we were just training this morning, and it's funny. Before I even got the fight, he was talking about me coming out there with him prior, just so we can acclimate and everything, and then still have somebody to train with and drill with and get the right stuff that we've been doing throughout camp. So yeah, it's gonna be great. I think syndicate's making some waves over in Australia this time.
Do you enjoy that? Because I've talked to some fighters where they actually don't like when like teammates are on the same card. It stresses them out, and like they don't want to be like, especially on fight day, like watching it or anything. Like, do you care? Like, will you be watching if he's before you or vice versa?
Oh, 100%. It's funny you say that. I never even thought that there was a negative. I've been on the same card as like my cousin Ricky before too, and like the only negatives for us were the outcome. We love the fact that we both were on the card. So
Yeah.
Man, I hadn't even really thought about that, dude. I just like that we're both over there representing.
With this one, like obviously both you guys pretty durable as they come. Like, how do you kind of see this one playing out?
Dude, I'm looking for a finish. I'm in there trying to get my money. I'm ready for a fight, and as long as that thing goes, I'm gonna be there for it. So I think it's a bit of a war of attrition, and my attrition is gonna be high, and I'm down to get in there and break this dude.
Did you think there was like a chance they might have cut you after that last one, or did you always like, or did they tell you after the roast fight that you were getting another one? Just because you kind of never know with the UFC.
Bro, you never know. Like I accepted the roastless one on relatively short notice just because I was like, bro, I'm like I ain't trying to get cut. God damn it. Like, so I've been having anxiety for a few months, just kind of hanging on the edge of that. But like after those first couple months after the fight, I was like, okay, maybe they want me for at least to fight out my contract. So my whole plan is to go over there and show out and show why I belong in the UFC and get a whole new contract. So yeah, man, it has been a little rough, but like I said, I accepted that last fight just because I thought I was on the chopping block for it. Thankfully Sean Shelby must have saw something he liked. I mean, I was out there trying to fight. It's hard to when somebody's not wanting to fight, but so be it.
Why is this the last fight of your deal then?
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess, does that add any pressure? Does that add some like excitement of like you can go out there if you get a good finish, like kind of just ups the value for your next contract?
I think it does. I think it for me just little extra fuel in the fire. Like I know what I can do, and I know what I have done. I think some fans are like fully with me, and some of them are against me. So I don't know if they know what to expect, but I know what I can do, and I think the more things like this that I can really like add to that motivation, I think it's just going to play in my favor.
You get a win over Colby. Like, where do you think that kind of puts you in the division?
Man, who knows? I'm hoping, and I'm not even trying to look past that. I just got to get my get my win, get my new contract, and then get fighting in another couple months, because dude, this year off stuff is not the business.
What is kind of the goal for you then this year? Just kind of be as active as possible. Like, I imagine obviously fighting in May, like it's kind of later than you wanted, but is it still like get at least 2 more in after this year, or after this one? Sorry.
I would love at least 2 more. I'm not going to be picky. I think at my age now, I think it's kind of just getting fights and getting the right fights. Like I've been in camp since my knee got healed from the surgery. So like, I don't have any issues keeping up or anything. So I don't know. I think with coach and management, I think they'd rather just see, okay, cool, let's get this win, secure our spot, get another fight. We'll take them one fight at a time and see how it goes.
Just final thing, like going out to like, or not a final thing, sorry, but like just a couple more is with Australia, the flight. Like, have you talked to anyone that's been out to Australia, like how to kind of deal with your weight and like over the flight, or like is that something the PI kind of helps you with for that?
Yeah, I know the PI's got some resources, and they usually have like some methods to the madness for getting us dealing with that. Me going 10 days out, most of it's going to be, I think, pretty much taken care of. I'll be acclimated by the time weight cut and fight week starts. So I'm not over stressing it. Like, I'll deal with whatever it is as it comes.
The last thing I did want to touch on, bantamweight division. Last time we talked, kind of changed a bit. Like Peter Yan, champion again. Like you have Sean kind of right there. Like, what do you kind of think is next for that kind of top of the division? Because obviously, like you have the Umar trilogy or the Marab trilogy. You have Umar there. You have the O'Malley rematch. Like I could kind of see a case for all three. Like, where do you think to kind of go with it?
Man, maybe call it biasness. I'm thinking they go with the Marab rematch, though.
Yeah.
I think that makes the most sense. Marab was trying to do stuff that nobody else has really ever done, and I think he was kind of that company man there for a bit, and I imagine they return the favor with a bit of a rematch. But I could definitely see them going the O'Malley Yan rematch route as well. Those two are kind of it's one or the other for me with those.
Well, Vince, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much for doing this again.
Of course, Cole. Thank you. It was good talking to you, man.
All right, we're jumping UFC bantamweight. Colby Thicknesse is back in action here in Perth. Colby, how's it going, man?
Oh, good, mate. Living the dream.
Yeah, I was good talking to you. Like, obviously, last time you fought, picked up your first UFC win. Like, kind of look back at that fight. Like, how happy with that performance? Just kind of get the win and a pretty solid win over an opponent like that.
Yeah, I was happy I won, but I wouldn't say I was happy with the performance. I actually feel like it's one of my worst performances I've had in a fight, and I know that because I'm normally pretty good at watching back my fights and that sort of thing, and it's one of the fights where I don't like watching it back because of that reason, because I'm not very happy with how I performed, and there were a couple of circumstances. But realistically, I just felt like I didn't really show up on the day. Like it's all well and good to still get the first win in that, but like I'm not. It's not a performance. Look back on it, I'm like, oh, I'm proud of how I fought and got the win. It was more just like, oh, I just had to scrape through and just got it done, sort of thing.
Is that just like you weren't happy with how like technical you were? Like, what kind of was the reason for it?
I can go into a little bit of detail. So, it was more, there's a few technical sides of things, but even just the fight style, like, I was just constantly like circling on the back foot and just trying to find like pitter pats of shots and things like that. And just sort of, I obviously had a great first round when I got him down, and I sort of got a little bit too overzealous, I guess, where I was like, even in the ground and pound shots, like I was purely punching him. Like I wasn't even like when you hit someone a lot of times, like I'm hitting to hurt you or try and break something. In my head, I'm like, I just have to keep touching you, and the ref's eventually going to stop it. And because I didn't have that intention behind my shots, instead of throwing 10 touch shots, I would throw 2 or 3 big ones. It could have changed the whole dynamic. And there was just sort of a couple of mindset things going in there where I was more focused on just trying to win to have like the fight be done as quick as it could, if that makes sense. Because like once I got him down, like if I win now, it sounds dumb, but like he can't win, like I can't lose, and then you're almost fighting not to lose at that point instead of just fighting your own fight to win. So I just wasn't sort of too happy with that. It felt like I was almost in like two minds that whole sort of fight. So I guess that's why it's sort of I don't like watching it back too much.
Was this the time frame you were looking for? Were you hoping to return a bit sooner than this, or is this all good to
I
you?
was honestly hoping to return a bit sooner to this. I actually had a significant bone bruise on my knee, which funny enough, it wasn't directly from the fight, but I obviously copped a couple of calf kicks, so my left calf was a bit sore. And then I was in an athlete's hotel downstairs, and I ended up standing up off the couch. And because my calf was sore, my leg gave out, and I smashed my knee onto a table. And I actually like really badly like hurt my knee. Like it swelled up straight away like a tennis ball, and I ended up being out of action for like 12 weeks. So like my shin was bruised, I had stitches, that healed up in like 3 weeks, and then it was this lingering knee issue because I kneed like the corner point of a table, and it just like smashed into my bone, which took like a full 3 months to heal. Because I was hoping to get on the February card with Volk, obviously,
Yeah.
and then that didn't happen. And then I was hoping to get on maybe like the Seattle or London card as well. But then UFC said they had nothing like for me at that point. And then once they said that, I assumed, oh, they're probably just gonna hold me like a bunch of other Aussies out for Perth sort of thing. So arguably, I would have preferred to be back in February. Injury, I knew I couldn't, so I was hoping for March. But I guess now I'll get it at the start of May.
And then for you, like third UFC fight, but all three are in Australia. Like obviously that's exciting to fight at home, but is there a bit of it? It's like, hey, let me go see a bit of part of the different
Yes.
world.
Yes, exactly. Like it feels not obviously it's cool. Like I'm fighting on the biggest scene in like stadiums 40 years down the line when I'm over there with my family, my friends, everything. I'm like, yeah, see, like walk by, yeah, I've fought there 3 times now, like in front of 15,000 people. Like it's cool for that, but it's also like I'm 26, I'm young, I'm healthy. Like I want to fight. Like I want to go to other people's hometowns and fight them in the hometowns. Like I want to walk out and get booed. I want to after a fight be able to spend another week in a foreign country and sort of just
Mhm.
experience the culture and things like that. Like you would understand it. Like it's just more I want to actually get this. One of the biggest perks of fighting as a career is that you get to travel and you get to sort of immerse yourself in wherever you go with your fights, like during the fight week, after the fight week, and everything like that. And it's cool. Like, sweet. I've done Sydney and Perth, but after this one at Perth, I'm sure they can throw me overseas somewhere.
Is there any places like countries or cities you got your eye on that you'd want to fight on before your career is up?
Yeah. So honestly, it would be like I think one America fight would be cool, like Vegas or something, just stay
Mhm.
foot in Vegas. But I've been there so many times with Volk, so it's like it's sort of like I haven't done it myself, but like I've been there before. So for me, something like a Brazil card or that Macau card, like the China ones, or even like the is it the Baku card? Is that
Yeah.
with the physique? Like more sort of niche places like that, I think would be really cool. That's what interests me. Like, it's not necessarily the typical audience of 20,000. Like, I'd rather want to go fight like some more cool, interesting places, a bit more history of that behind it.
Uh, Back to your fight with Vince, like obviously he's been around a solid vet. Like how familiar were you with him?
I was actually pretty familiar with him because when I was over in Vegas for the Ultimate Fighter with Volk, he was doing a bit of training at the PI there. And then I don't remember, I didn't train with him there, but then I remember we were out somewhere and I was fighting on the TV and I was like, oh, that's the guy who like was at the PI and we're talking to. So I sort of knew about him, and then I obviously knew he got cut. He had a couple wins on the regionals and he come back in, and then I watched his fight with Paul Rosa live on the
Mhm.
card, like when it happened. But besides then, I honestly, because he hasn't fought in so long, I almost just forgot about him. And then I was scheduled for yeah. Oh, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, because he's like one of those guys that like he fights kind of. He's a pretty durable, tough guy. Like he isn't afraid to take those short notice fights. Like he's a guy.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he's been off for this long because like he normally just hops on at anything.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. And then because I honestly thought he might have retired or something like that. Looking through your Tapology records, you're like, it was like March last year he last fought or something.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh yeah. So I did, and then I was meant to have someone else that fell through for whatever reasons, and then 2 days later they messaged me with Vince, and then I said, sure, I'm keen as, and then a day later the fight got announced. So I think it was like perfect timing for me. But yeah, as for him, I've watched a couple of his fights back and things like that, and like I think you sort of can see what he wants to do out there. He is on a free fight losing skid. However, it's against super elite guys, and he's had this is going to be his 12th UFC fight. It's going to be my third UFC fight. He's like 3 times as many professional fights as me. He's like 10 years older. Like it's definitely that young up and comer versus that vet, which matchups always favor the young up and comer. But I have to be very aware of that. He's a veteran for a reason. He's seen a lot of things. He's going to have these crafty tricks. He's got his good front headlocks here is he likes to go for. He likes his forward pressure. He's got an awkward style on the feet. So I can't go in there thinking just because he's on a free fight skid, like I'm just going to go for and steamroll him. I have to give the respect he deserves. I'm going to do that, and I have been doing that in my preparation. But with all that being said, I am going out there to try and make this statement and get a finish.
Do you think there could be like we see a kind of different version of him where it's kind of could be like back against the wall and he really has like nothing to lose here and he's like more aggressive than he usually is?
Possibly, yes, but also after having, he's had what, 16, 10, 26 pro fights, I'm not sure how many amateur
Mhm.
fights, and at his age, I don't know how much more you can really change. In the sense that I don't think his actual style of fighting will change. However, maybe maybe his aggressions. Maybe he's a bit more forward, he's throwing a bit, he's a bit more reckless, he's a bit like just less, he's more risk adverse. Like he's more happy to take these chances just to try and like go out swinging or things like that, which is like dangerous. But it also makes him much more susceptible because he's gonna to do that. He has to open himself up for a lot more risk. So, look, if he wants to play that game, that's game's fine. I've been spent the last 5 weeks in Thailand with lots of people trying to take my head off. So I'm very comfortable if he wants to come forward and try to do that. Do I think he will? I think he might try it early, but I think if he gets 1 or 2 big shots on him, I think it might settle down and we'll sort of see him go back to him sort of more like traditional self.
I know a big thing about this card, which it's probably better for you, is that it's like prime time for you
Oh,
guys.
mate.
And it's like
Man.
early morning here
Yes.
in North America. Like,
Yeah.
does that just make fight week and kind of everything a lot easier for you?
I'll be honest, man. Like, one of the reasons I'm not happy with that performance in the last fight is like that time cooked me. Like, I know my opponent went through it, but like maybe I just didn't adjust right at that. But like, I can't wait for obviously the Friday night. I didn't get any sleep, cutting weight. You normally don't. But then I weighed in at 6 a.m. So I weighed in at 6 a.m., did my rehydration and everything. Time I went to bed the next night, it was like 8 p.m. I was trying to get to bed by, but you can imagine 8 p.m. trying to sleep before you fight. Then I had to be up at 3:30 a.m. to get picked up by the UFC at 5 a.m.
Hmm.
Like, so not even 24 hours after you weigh in, you're already in a bus to go fight. So it is like, it's not, I like, even though both athletes go through it, like some people might be able to go with it better. And I'm sure if I had to do it again, I would adjust better to it. But like that whole Sunday morning, I just felt like I was in like a daze. Like, just felt like I was in that dream where you're throwing punches and your punches don't hurt. And it's just like, it's just weird. So I don't really, not even like a 24-hour weighing thing, just more like how early everything is over there. So being a Saturday night prime time for us, like we've got a 3-hour time difference, so it's legit my afternoon sessions here are when I'll be fighting over in Perth, so it's perfect.
Yeah, because it's almost like it benefits the people coming over because they can just
Yes.
kind of not get
Mhm.
used to Australian time. They just stay on their local,
Yeah.
like they just stay on their normal body clock time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what a lot of, even a perfect example was that London card, like when it was I think Leon versus Brady, and everyone's like, "Oh, Leon didn't show up." He's like, "Yeah, because he's lived here for 30 something years, going to bed and waking up at the same time, and now he's expected to fight in the middle of the night. So he would have
Mhm.
been better off going to America, getting adjusted to America time, flying back to London and staying in America time, than just staying to do your camp here, if that makes sense."
Yeah, you did touch on going to Thailand. Like, where was
Yep.
the whole camp? Like, was it in Thailand or is kind of split
Yeah, so I
between?
did my first 5 weeks there over at Beneil with like the Hickman brothers, Brad Riddell, and all the guys over there. And then I got back to Australia just over the weekend. And I'll do my last 2 weeks of camp here with Joe Lopez, Volk, and all the boys here. And then I'll fly over to Perth.
Is that what you always do, or is this different for this camp? Or
No, that was just one. It was more because we hit up the UFC the week after, pardon me, after Volk fought, and then that they said they had nothing, and it was a bit of a lull, to be honest, because Volk wasn't in the gym, no one had fights coming up. I was super keen after my teammate defended his world title again, like all this momentum, and then just to get them told, "Oh, hey, we got nothing for you," is a bit of a downer. And then just happened to be Brad Riddell. Hit me up. He's like, "Oh, hey, bro, our grappling coach is going away for a bit. Do you want to come over to Bangtao, teach classes, we'll pay for you, we'll put you up and you can come train for us for like 4 or 5 weeks." So that just happened to be a good time. And he told me that. I came over and then always knew when they said they had nothing for me in March, I'm like, well, they're probably just going to hold me off for the Perth card. So once I got over there, I settled in the first week and then I pretty much just started a training camp regardless. And then about 3 weeks into the training camp, that's when the actual matchup came about.
uh, with Vince, like he's a super durable guy. Like it's been pretty hard to finish. Like, how do you kind of see this one playing out then?
I see this playing out is that I'm just gonna, without giving too much away of a game plan, that is I'm just gonna, I can see like how it is I'm just coming out for 15 minutes, like
Mhm.
just to fight. Like whether that's on the feet, in the clinch, we're scrambling, we're trying to get each other with submissions. Like sometimes I think I try and over complicate it too much and go in this last fight I had all these scenarios played in my head, X, Y, and Z, and then sometimes you can almost get like that little bit of like that information overload and it forces you to almost freeze too much. And then this time I've got a couple of tactics that I've been working on, but honestly, I'm just going to go out there and as soon as that bell goes, I'm going to offer to touch his hand. If he wants to touch my hand, he can. If not, doesn't matter. But from that moment on, I'm just trying to hurt him and get him out of there for the next 15 minutes until either the ref pulls me off him or he stays standing and a bell rings and we had 3 hard rounds together. So it's just going to go out there and just fight, to be honest, just make it really, really simple. Like,
Mhm.
obviously, there's is tactical and things like that, but I'm not really putting too much emphasis on this. I know what he's good at. I know where I'm good. I'm just very excited just to go out there.
Do you know your corner for this fight, or is that something you're still kind of figuring out?
Yep. No, so it'll be Joe, Volk, and my teammate Casey again, who shout out cornered me in my last fight. And now he's actually got signed to Road to UFC. So he'll corner me in Perth. I'll come back home for 2 weeks, and I'm going to fly over to Macau with him and corner him for Road to UFC. So fingers crossed, in 12 months' time, I'll be cornering him as well for his UFC debut.
With Vince, like he's fought some of those like guys like Rose in the top 15, like Elijah Smith looks like a promising prospects. Like, where do you think a win over him puts you in the division?
I think it puts me exactly with them guys. I think it puts me in great trajectory to have a fight with that Elijah Smith. One more win, you can claw out guys like the Paul Roses. I think a win like that really catapults me. And like, if I go out there and I stop him, I make it look good. Like, there's a very real possibility I can start clawing out like more veteran guys now. But even like, sounds crazy, but like Cody Garbrandt just fought someone who was like 1-1 in the UFC, ranked like 55 or something like that. So if I can go out and get a stoppage with no Vince, maybe someone's like him's not next, but he's only a fight away after that, and that's a massive name. Then you get someone like that on your resume, that can really start to catapult you quickly up these rankings.
Just a couple more things for you. Like, what is kind of the goal this year? Like, imagine it's to be stack up a couple wins, be a bit active,
Yep.
especially kind of starting the year late.
Yeah, definitely. I want to have this fight in May. Go to not worry about anything. I'm just gonna. My teammate Case has been great to me for all my past fights. So after May, it's purely focused on him being the best body I can, get him his first win in Road to UFC. Then after that, we'll have a chat. And I'm being honest. I'm depending when Volk's fight. I assume I'm actually not too sure, but I think Mobzar wants somewhat of a quick turnaround. So if it's where they're lining up, I'm gonna itch and abuse Volk and Dana White, whoever I have to try and get me on that card, because it's Volk's only got a couple left, as we know, and if I could share a card with him, doesn't matter if I'm the early prelim or I'm fighting in the car park. Like, it's one of my dreams since I've been in this sport, since I walked into the gym and I sort of met him when I was 13 years old, who was already a pro fighter, and it always seemed so far away. And then there's now this glimmer and this chance of it happening. So I just have to go out and do my thing, and then it would be, yeah, get on Volk's card, get a win there. That's going to be my contract, renegotiate over contract, and then go from there and start sort of looking to set myself up with another win at the end of the year. And then I can start looking at, I think, the top 20 rankings come 2027 to start to really work my way up to the top guys then.
Just the last thing I want to touch on was Volk. Like, obviously, last time we talked was before the fight against Diego in the rematch. I was kind of surprised they're running back. I thought Volk was going to win. Again, I was kind of surprised how kind of close the odds and everything were. Like, what did you kind of take away his performance? And like,
Yeah.
it seems like Mavzar's next. Like, how do you think they match up against each other?
With that Diego one, like, we're obviously disappointed that they put that instead of Murphy or the Mobzov one straight away. But to be honest, man, like, it's come out now, but like, Volk basically dislocated his shoulder 4 weeks before that fight. And like, if anyone had a dislocation, them injuries are like, part of my French, but they're pretty fucking brutal. Like, they're bad. And like, this dude couldn't throw a jab. He couldn't. I remember I was doing situational grappling stuff with him. Like, Craig would be watching, I'd be doing the stuff. And I knew grappling with him, I was like, oh, yeah, like, that's a vulnerable side, sort of things like that. And for him to go out, just all the adversity he already faced to beat him the first time, then everything going on behind the scenes in the second one, and all of that sort of thing, and then to go out and arguably have a better fight against him than he did the first time, like, and now he's 10 rounds up on the number one contender in the division, who was obviously, but Mobzer is now, to do something like that at his age and everything. It's just like, it's it's incredible for like athletics, but it's also just incredible purely for like the mindset of what the human body and mind is capable when you're just so driven for so many years and everything. And it's like, it's stuff like you'll see that in a movie and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool, but it's just a movie. Like, this stuff doesn't happen in real life. But Bulk just proves again and again and again, like, he sounds so cliche, but like, the things he's doing are like worth a movie every single time now. So I think it's good now he's got his flowers, because there was a long time on the come up, especially after that second Max fight and that, where he was arguably one of the most hated champs in the whole entire UFC, if not, like, just not even champs, just fighters. There was a lot of sort of toxicity and just a lot of negativity spewed around him. So I'm very happy now, especially like towards this tail end of his career, he's finally getting like the flowers he deserves, and to have that, like, even just that walkout in Sydney where they queued the song earlier. You got 20,000 people singing "Land Down Under" like in front of his friends and family. Like, I'm happy he's finally getting to sort of experience everything he's worked so hard for.
Just final thing about Volk that I want to touch on. Like, obviously, he meant a lot, imagine, for your career, but like, what's it like for you to kind of see that when he became this champion, like one of the pound for pound best fighters ever, that he's still kind of caring about these guys? Like, you weren't in the UFC, or like these amateur guys. Like, I've heard stories where he's taking care of like these amateur guys, still training them, still
Yeah.
like kind of bringing them along for fights. Like,
Yeah.
what's that kind of mean to all you guys in the gym? What he's done?
Oh man, it's crazy. Like, even today, like we just had 2 hours of training, and he's just like holding pads. So one of the boys, he has a kickboxing fight in a week, and then he's running us through a technique class, and he's like, even sometimes like the numbers were uneven. So instead of him jumping in a group of three, he's like, oh, I'll just come around and coach, and I'll get some reps in where I can. Like just little things like that. Whereas like he's such a selfless person, and like doesn't matter if me and Casey, who are UFC on the road to UFC, or there's two amateur guys who haven't had any fights yet, he gives just as much attention as to us guys as he does to everybody else in the room. I think it just shows like his true character sort of thing.
Well, Colby, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much for doing this again.
No worries, Carl. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.